Osama bin Laden's son-in-law pleads not guilty to terrorism charges, and Kenyans will have to wait another day for their election results. I'm David Byrd reporting from Washington. Osama bin Laden's son-in-law, a former al-Qaeda spokesman, has pleaded not guilty in a New York court to a charge that he conspired to kill Americans. As Larry Freund reports, Sulaiman Abu Ghaith entered his plea through a court-appointed lawyer.
Abu Ghaith was brought into the courtroom with his hands cuffed behind his back. A court officer removed the handcuffs until the 15-minute hearing was concluded, and Abu Ghaith was escorted from the courtroom. Judge Lewis Kaplan, speaking through an interpreter, advised Abu Ghaith of his rights under U.S. law, including his right to remain silent and his right to a court-appointed attorney if he could not afford one. Abu Ghaith said he could not afford his own lawyer, and the judge appointed 3 attorneys, including Philip Weinstein, who told the judge he had already met with the accused terrorist several times before the hearing. Judge Kaplan ordered another hearing for Abu Ghaith on April 8th. If convicted of the U.S. charges, Abu Ghaith could face life imprisonment. For VOA News, this is Larry Freund in New York.
For more on this story, be sure to log on to our website, voanews.com. U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel arrived in Afghanistan Friday on his first foreign trip since being confirmed as the Pentagon chief. As Luis Ramirez reports, Hagel will meet with U.S. commanders and with Afghan President Hamid Karzai.
Hagel told reporters traveling with him the purpose of his visit is to thank U.S. troops and to learn more about the mission ahead in Afghanistan.
I need to better understand what's going on there. I need to talk to, listen to, get a good sense from our commanders on the ground. I look forward to reacquainting myself with President Karzai.
U.S. troops are shifting from a combat role to advising, training, and assisting Afghan forces as they transition security responsibility to the Afghans, a process that is to be completed by the end of 2014. Luis Ramirez, VOA News, at the Pentagon.
Provisional results in Kenya are giving Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta a razor-thin victory in Monday's presidential election. The early results say that Kenyatta won with 50.03% of the vote. Prime Minister Raila Odinga is in second place. Getting more than 50% of the vote was critical to avoid a runoff election. The tally has been slowed since an electronic reporting system failed earlier this week. UN officials say they have completed arrangements for the release of 21 Philippine peacekeepers held in the Golan Heights by Syrian rebels. As VOA's Margaret Bashir reports from the UN, the handover is expected to take place on Saturday.
The lightly armed observers were stopped and seized by a group of some 30 armed fighters in the area of separation between Israel and Syria on Wednesday. A UN peacekeeping spokesperson said arrangements were made with all parties to release the 21 observers. A team from the UN mission was sent to the location, but due to the late hour and the darkness, it was considered unsafe to continue the operation. The spokesperson said efforts would continue Saturday. Peacekeeping Chief Hervé Ladsus told reporters earlier Friday that the men are safe and being held in 4 or 5 different locations in Jamla as the UN worked to secure their release. Ladsus said the United Nations is looking at how its Golan mission will operate in light of the deteriorating security situation on the ground. Margaret Bashir, VOA News, the United Nations.
Venezuelans and delegations from around the world remembered President Hugo Chavez Friday at a funeral service at a military academy in Caracas. 18 Latin American presidents attended the public farewell. The United States sent a diplomatic delegation. The 58-year-old Chavez died Tuesday after a 2-year fight against cancer. And the Vatican says that Roman Catholic cardinals will meet on Tuesday to start the conclave needed to elect a successor to Pope Benedict. The conclave date was set during a meeting of the cardinals Friday in Vatican City after 5 days of closed-door debate. All 115 of the cardinals eligible to elect a new pope took part in Friday's meeting. Pope Benedict resigned last month after nearly 8 years in office. He's the first pontiff to step down in more than 600 years. For more, log on to voanews.com. I'm David Byrd in Washington.